Hey everybody, it's Andy, Thursday live office hours. This is where I am every week, 11 a.m. Central in the U.S., helping you build a career you love. Great to have you. I see the chat's already rolling. Get in, say hi, let me know where you're from, let me know what you do, let me know what you need. Make sure to put some question marks in front of your questions. I don't know how clear that was. I had to move my microphone because I was typing. I got to get one of those boom arms. All right, hey, great to see everybody today. I just got a chat from I got a lone wolf partner today. Stacy, Kara's out. She's on vacation visiting schools because her genius level daughter got into all these colleges, and so they had to figure out which ones she really wanted to go to. Okay, get in. Let's see, my streaming software is updated, so I've got other things that I've never seen before. Hopefully I will not hit any buttons that disconnect me. All right, I'm looking pretty good. I think you're all looking pretty good. I see Rachel Emily McKelvey's picture, who I love. That looks awesome. And not everybody made it from the YouTube chat over to my Ecamm chat. So I don't know if I got everybody here. I saw my mother was in the chat. Hi, Mom, love you. Hopefully Dad is with you and you guys are having a great time. I saw Laura Cobb. I saw your question about affiliates. Why don't we answer that one? And get us kicked off with that. So Laura Cobb, whose chat I cannot see, but who asked me about whether you could, or what my thoughts were on affiliates, as she is trying to open her own business. What were the thoughts on doing partnerships and joint ventures and affiliate marketing and these kind of things? And if you guys don't know what that is, you certainly are not getting a lot of that from me. You do not see me promoting a lot of other trainers' stuff. I do it on a rare occasion. And Laura, for your benefit, for that question, I find that I have a pecking order in the way I choose what I do. You don't have to have this pecking order. You can try this out and see for yourself what works. The numero uno thing with me, for our relationship, meaning me, you, and all in my community, is my credibility. And so I get I'm very, very focused on, if I'm going to be promoting someone else's work and promoting it on behalf of them in a manner in which I would be collecting a commission should I make a sale through my promotion of their work. That's effectively what this is. If you guys follow trainers, you might see them. The dogs are getting settled. My sister-in-law's coming over because my wife's on spring break. They're going out and they're probably going to go bar hopping or something, so the dogs are a little crazy. But anyway, this is, it is very common that you see this, and what this is aimed at doing is helping a particular trainer get their community built faster, make more sales, as you can imagine. And so normally, Laura, what's customary is they will give you 50% of the sale. Now, I'm less concerned about the money and I'm more concerned about my credibility. I do not want to be promoting something that someone else is going to not love. So the only things that I absolutely promote are training courses, material, books, whatever it is that I myself personally use. And one example, a long while ago, it's been a long while since I've promoted anybody's anything. I did do some work with Michael Hyatt, and I have taken a lot of his training, and I was offered to be on some of the teams that he pulled together to promote some of his books and some of his training. I promoted them because I used them, and I could speak to my exact experience, how I benefited, how I used them, and I could communicate that to my community. I no longer do that. For a variety of reasons. I find that they are a lot of work for the return, and it's not worth me risking my reputation or my credibility. That's my view. So I've chosen to be very, very careful so you do not see a lot of promotion. Actually, probably 99% of you have never seen a promotion from me for another trainer. You might hear me recommend a book here and there, but I'm not in an affiliate relationship where I'm collecting commissions. And if ever that is the case, and I ever do that with y'all, I would say to you, it would be labeled right there on the email. If you decide to buy this, I'm going to get some money. Okay, so I hope that helps you. And my trusty partner Stacy's telling me that she was able to get the early chat. So Stacy, what do we got? I see Varun about the boss hunting cover letter. Apparently he missed the video that we just put out a couple weeks ago. But what can you tell me? Is there any other questions that I actually just pull them together? I'll go out and I'll answer Varun's because you're going to put the video in there for him. So Varun, he's got a question. My Canadian brother from another mother. Okay, any videos on what response to give after the boss hunting letter and you're told to apply on, I'm assuming online, what response to give the person you sent the letter to initially? Thanks as always. Stacy is telling me she took care of you, but for those of you that missed her little additional chat, one of the things that you want to know is I have a video out there for this exact question. Now, there's two things you need to know. Number one, what the heck is he talking about with boss hunting? If you are not familiar with Andy's favorite technique to find your next job, it's boss hunting. All you need to do is you can go to Google or you can go to YouTube, type boss hunting on my channel or type boss hunting LaCivita, and it will take you right to the boss hunting videos. And there are free cover letters that I've copywritten for you that you can use to target individuals. Now, obviously, there's an exercise in finding who that person might be, but it's pretty easy to do these days. I'm not going to go into all that. But there's a technique that I love. It is my absolute favorite way to find a job. If I was looking for a job, I would literally do nothing other than that. Now, what Varun is saying is I sent the boss hunting cover letter to somebody. They got back to me and said, that's very nice of you, but would you please put this in the applicant tracking system or our corporate portal, or will you submit this online, or whatever they told him. I literally have a video titled, What Should You Do When the Boss Says, Put the Resume in the Applicant Tracking System. I think it's titled that. So Stacy put that in the chat. Y'all can enjoy that and roll with it. All right. John Storta Jr. Hang on a second. Stacy, hang on. Oh, there we go. Hang on. There we go. All right. John Storta Jr., I think I gotcha. I've always worked for Fortune 500 companies. You mentioned that you check company when reviewing resumes. I do. What is the career impact of taking higher level position at a smaller company? This, my friend, is phenomenal. Okay, here we go. All right, so first thing that, here again, I realize some of you probably just found me today. For those of you that don't know how I review a resume, one of the things that I do is I start at the top. I look to see if you've spoon-fed me a summary of you. I want you to give me the picture of you that you want me to have in my head. It's the first thing I look at. 1 second test, then a few second tests. I'm looking for that summary so I can get an idea of who you are. Then I like to see what you've accomplished on a major level, and then my eyes drop to the right side of your resume, which is where I expect to find the company names. Now, I say I look at companies first, your role second, which is true. I want to see what organizations you've been through. And then in one of my videos that's kind of popular about how to get your resume noticed in 5 seconds guaranteed, or how to get employers to notice your resume in 5 seconds guaranteed, or something like that, I talk about looking to see where you work. And first thing I'm trying to do is, have you worked for great companies? And what a lot of people have done, and I'm sure this is my issue because I should have clarified what I meant by great company. I said great company. I didn't say big company. Okay, so what most people do is they say, well, Andy, I haven't worked for household names. I haven't worked for companies like PepsiCo and Coca-Cola and whatever, IBM and Apple. That isn't what I said. I look for great organizations, and recruiters or HR people in your space will recognize the best players even if they're companies of 10 people. So that is not as important. And then the other thing that you need to do on your resume is you need to make sure that you level set my understanding of who you worked for, what that organization is, and I'll explain in a second why I want to make this point for John's question. You might work for PepsiCo, which I heard of. right? But then you might work for Mile Walk, which a lot of people might not have heard of. So what you want to do is you want to have a little description of each company underneath the company name so that I at least have an idea as somebody who's unfamiliar. Let's say you're in Europe and then you come to the US and you're giving me a resume and you have a bunch of European companies that I'd never heard of. Well, you say, leading manufacturer of semiconductors in France and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, I get it. Now I understand where you were. And I might have heard of IBM, but I didn't hear this other company. Kind of thing. So what you're doing is you're benchmarking, you're level setting, for me, the kinds of organizations that you've worked for. Now you might say, well, Andy, everybody's heard of these Fortune 500 companies that I worked for. Great. Why don't you tell me what the company is? PepsiCo. We're the maker of sugary beverages that give you cavities and spike your blood sugar. Okay? That's fine. I know what that is. Then the next thing that should follow is ran the blah blah division of the blah blah unit to do this and that and the other thing. So how do you fit into this big organization? All right, so that's another thing that those of you that have worked for large companies can put in there. Now, what career impact of taking a higher level position at a smaller company? None. I worked for a company that had, at the time I left, 60,000. I went to an organization that was 107 people. I was employee 108. I helped them grow it to 450 people in the next 18 months. We went public and all that stuff was great. And that's where I learned how to run businesses, kind of thing. And so I could have jumped back into a bigger company. I could have taken another position at a small to medium-sized company, or I could have done something in the middle. So there's no impact either way. I need to know that you have the goods. Now, there might become some questions that I would ask you. They're questions. They're not like major obstacles. But what'll happen when you have a certain pattern of company type, so whether you've worked always for small companies or whether you've always for big companies, the opposites work. So I'm going to give you, kind of both scenarios. Well, if I see somebody who's worked for really big companies and I've got a 100-person company, you bet your bum I'm going to be spending a lot of time asking you about, your entrepreneurial nature and if you can wear multiple hats. And when we don't have the reference binders for every single thing that we do, how are you going to roll? And there's certain things that we're going to do here that you might not be used to. We might be cutting some corners on purpose, right? You might have a lot of overhead where you might need 8 approvals to get anything done, where here all you need to do is come to me and I give you the go sign and you go, right? So the operating procedures are going to be different. The cultural personality and those components is going to be different. The same goes the other way. If you've worked for small companies and now you're going to go into a big company, how are you going to feel about all the red tape, right? So it's not, what's the impact to my career? It's because, believe me, a lot of small companies like people from Fortune 500 companies because they feel like you got a pedigree. I was hired at the company where I joined, where I was employee number 108, because they loved that I had run large projects. I had a command and understanding of account management and sales. I knew what it was like to run large projects. I knew what it was like to build methodologies, implementation methodologies. I brought all that to the organization, and I spent a good chunk of my first 6 months not only working with clients, but building out the infrastructure for the small company. It was the greatest job I'd ever had, except for my own business. But that's how I view that. That's a great question, and I want all of you to know that because I answered probably 10 questions there about your resume, about how to make sure you put certain things in it, about what it means as you go into an interview process, about what it means for your career. So I know I spent a few minutes on that one, John. I think we hit a lot of points there. That's a great, very rich question. A lot of luck on that one. All right, man, I got something in my eye. Can you tell? All right, here we go. What's next? Rachel Emily. All right, Stace, I've got it from here. I've got it. Okay. Rachel Emily, when I've telecommuted, worked remotely, do I put the city where the company is located or where I was located on my resume? Do I indicate remote or telecommute? Okay. So here's what I would do. If I was working remotely and, okay, so 15 months ago, I would have said it's no big deal. right? You can put the company in on your resume. You can say, Mile Walk, HQ, Chicago, right? Something like that. And then and Rachel, I don't know where you live, but you might be in Maryland, okay? And then they can see, oh, your home address is in Maryland, your headquarters, okay. Maybe you were either working remotely, then I would draw that conclusion, or you might note in the resume somewhere that you were working in the Maryland office or whatever. Now, commuting, telecommuting, working remotely, this is becoming more prevalent, and organizations will I'm not saying this is going to put you over the top, but they will like the fact that you are comfortable working remotely. The upstart is usually faster. You probably have the right equipment and all that good stuff, especially if you're working for a smaller organization. Stacy and Kara, they have their own laptops, they have their own monitors, they have that. I don't supply a lot of that stuff for them. They come equipped and ready to go. We're a really tiny company. But for you, you could do that. You could put worked remotely or whatever if you want in the description of the organization where you describe it. Chicago-based recruitment and career coaching services company, blah blah blah. Worked remotely, blah blah blah. For you, so you could do kind of piggybacking on what I said to John. Same kind of thing. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be like a major separator, but it's nice to know. It is a little comforting to know that, hey, you've got that experience. So I like it. Great question. Connie Cotter, you don't call, you don't write. It's great to see your face. I don't know if you're still here, but Louisiana. So what, you're going to be a Saints fan now? You got to give up the Packers for me? Hey, great to see you. Big hugs to you, and always love having you on the show. Hope you're rocking the job, and hope to see you here soon. And Mini Panda, how are you? I can't wait to see you too. Hopefully you've been enjoying some of these extra coaching sessions we've been doing throughout March. By the way, if you guys did not get in, I'm not going to make a whole big deal out of this. I sent you an email yesterday. We did the whole productivity challenge. It's a 5-session deep course on all my productivity principles. Everything from how do you generate your master lists, your quarterly lists, your monthly, your weekly, and so on, and get dialed in correctly, to planning your weeks and days, planning and executing your day, running projects and that mindset. And then I capped it off last week with how to increase your personal energy. I went through all my energy secrets, everything, all my routines, all my diet, all the stuff, everything, how I run my day, how I never accumulate stress, all that good stuff is all in there. And if you're interested in just the productivity program, it's $200 off for the next several hours, and that's it. It ends today. It's a $300 course. You can get in for $97, or you can get it for free as a bonus if you're in my leadership coaching program. So make sure you're watching your inbox for that. That's it. We're all set. You got the emails. Good to go. So I hope you guys take advantage of that. Let me see. What do we got here? Stanislav. Hey, does the number of connections in my LinkedIn profile somehow affect... Let me just get this here. Okay. Stanislav, does the number of connections in my LinkedIn profile somehow affect the decision process of HR people, for sales positions especially? Well, I will tell you this. I'm really glad you tacked on the for sales positions especially. So if I look at somebody's online profile on LinkedIn and it's not really flushed out, right? This, that's it. Senior person, don't really take the time to do that. That person is either probably super senior, really doesn't care. It's never, working for the same company 25 years, never really put any effort into it. You start to speculate why that is the case. If they have very few connections, you also speculate why that is the case. Now, from a hiring standpoint, when I look at that, for 99% of the positions, I will completely ignore it. If, however, you are a recruiter, if, however, you are a salesperson, right? If you are in a, alliance manager, if you are like individuals who should have relationships and you have none, I'm going to wonder about that. I'm going to ask you about that in your interview. Okay? I know it sounds a little weird, but how do you build your relationships? How do you maintain them? Right? So I'm telling you, it doesn't affect my decision to hire you. I will ask you about it, and then I will determine based on your response whether it's going to affect if I'm going to hire you. So you think about that. How do you hang on to your, you might say, well, I've got a personal database, this thing, and that thing. Hey man, get with the times kind of thing. So I would definitely try to do that. If you really want to juice your numbers, any of you, there are groups out there that are called like Top LinkedIn something or another, this and that. And they literally will, like, you give them your profile, they disseminate it out, and then you get all these connections instantly. It's a little weird, and you're going to be connected to a lot of people that you don't know. But if that's something that you really wanted, stuff like that's out there. People are always trying to game the system. I think I commented once a long time ago on LinkedIn because its algorithm is not very friendly for your post circulations. How groups get together and they have like class action groups that will disseminate your posts even though they haven't read them, haven't done anything, don't know you, don't know your brand, and then they circulate them, and then their network sees it, and so then those people get traffic, and that's how those people build up followers. I don't do that. I take the long road. I don't know. Foundation's more solid that way. All right, hope that helps. Richard Abraham, hey to you. Medina, how are you? And Gary, my boot camper, and David Mills, look at you. New Hampshire. Awesome. Where it is cold and gray and one is better off indoors watching job search webinars. Great to see you. Doug Milligan, my boot camper, excited to see you today. I have an on-site meeting with Life Sciences Group that I've gone through 3 rounds of interviews with. Lots of luck to you, Doug Milligan, my boot camper. Great to have you always. Grace under pressure. I went boss hunting, Andy. I love it. He bit and asked for my resume straight away. That's almost a week ago. Radio silence. Should I follow up or move on? Okay. It's handy. It's always handy. Grace, 2 things. Number 1, yay. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple things. I could just say, sure, go ahead, follow up. That's that. All right, but you all, I ain't cheating you. You need to know this. You send your message. Okay, we already talked about boss hunting. And if you're watching this clip on a recording, just go check out my YouTube channel and type boss hunting to understand what Grace is saying here. And she sent it, got a reply, and then it went silent for a week. Now, Grace, you have no idea where this person is in his or her life, what's going on, what their schedule looks like. My wife is on spring break right now, okay? So she's got a week off, right? Kara, I told you, her kids are all on spring break, right? Husband's on spring break. All this stuff, it's like, they could be on spring break for all I know. I'm not going to think about it too much. You got a response. You got an affirmative. That's the first goal. Now, who knows what? Maybe they looked at your resume and they didn't like it. For any number of reasons. So here's what I would do. Since you got a quick response and they requested your resume, I would give them a week or so. I probably would give them 2 weeks right now because you never know. Because if I'm in vacation and then I'm coming back after being on vacation, right? I gotta catch up. Not good. So it could be any one of a number of reasons. Now, I probably, in my response to you, if that was the case, would have said, hey, that's great, Grace. You know what? Shoot me your resume. I got a busy couple of weeks, or I'm out of the office or whatever, and I'll get back to you if there's an opportunity. I would have given you something. That's just me. Now, I don't spend a lot of time following up with people. I really don't. I subscribe to a couple different philosophies, all in the same vein. Now, I've held up my marketing machine funnel. Yes, I will eventually make a coffee mug or something out of this. I just don't have it right now. But this for those of you that aren't sick of seeing it, this up here is resume send-outs. A boss hunting send-out of your resume is a resume send-out. Putting your resume in an applicant tracking system is not a resume send-out. It's a nothing, okay? It's a zero. And then you get some exchanges just like that person did. They actually got back to you, right? But what's happening is a lot of you spend a lot of mental energy in here, okay? In this section here, agonizing, worrying, as if this is the only boss in the world, this is the only company in the world or whatever. And I want you to be spending all your time out, reaching out first, because why? Because you can control all of this. No one can stop you from sending your resume to another boss and another boss and another boss, and spend more time with those initial outreaches. Remember this. Remember this. In anything that you do, you are a measure of your peak, not a measure of your average. Okay? So how many of Einstein's 1093 patents do you know? 5? Less? Right, because he hit 5 home runs and of 1,100 attempts. Okay, you look at my YouTube channel. Every week I show up. You get a recorded video and you get a live show. Except that 80% of those 200,000 of you, thank you, subscribers that are out there come from 3 videos, right? Kind of thing. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't think they're my 3 best videos. They're middle of the pack. Doesn't matter what I think. I just keep showing up every week, and then you hit the home run, right? So I want you to remember that. If you keep showing up every day and you keep boss hunting every day and you keep being a marketing machine every day, it only takes you 1, right? So think about this. Think about this. And creative people, and the people you think are absolute geniuses, are not any more creative than you. They're not smarter than you. They're not different kinds of thinkers. They're at it more than you are. Okay? So a lot of you that think, well, I'm not having any luck, I almost guarantee that you are not being consistent every single day in sending these messages out. I can tell. And the organized person is going to outpace the more talented one in the long run all the time. But even in the short run. All right. So Grace, I know I went off there too, man. It's important that you know that. And I think a slip of the hand there. Hang on, let me get back to where I was. Shoot. Here we go. TC for salary questions. How do you get beyond the online application that requires the answer? Okay, so I have a video on this. Remember I just got done saying of all those subscribers that are on my YouTube channel, they come from like 3, it's not true, maybe it comes from 5 videos. One of those videos is what's the best answer to what's your expected salary. It's got like 2 million viewers, okay? I'm not pointing you to that one. But in that video, I was talking about when you're asking it in a dialogue and somebody says, what's your expected salary? And I gave you the script. If you want to check that out, go ahead. But then that was 2018. Then 2 years later in 2020, I put another video out because there were so many people of those 2 million people that put comments on the YouTube channel about, well, what about the online application? Just like TC is asking me. Well, it required an answer. What should I give them? Just give them an answer. I would give them the answer, and then I did a follow-up to that, what's your expected salary. I gave you another updated script, and I gave you all the bailouts, and I addressed questions like this. What should I do on the application? What should I do if their face is turning purple and they're insisting I give them a number? I give you all this. It's a what's your best answer to what's your expected salary, but it's a 2020 version. It was like February 2020 that came out. And so to you, I would say, you just put in something that's near what you're currently earning. Okay, I'm going to give you my Rohan story because I love Rohan, and this, you might have heard this, but I'm going to tell you again. So Rohan's in Canada, okay? He applies and reaches into an organization in San Francisco. It's reasonably a startup. You know, they're a little ways in, got some funding, had an online application. He says, they asked me, I gave him the number, 120 to 129,999. Okay, that was the drop down, that was the selectable one. This is near about what he made. He gets on the call with the hiring official. She says, what's your expected salary? He said, he gave him the Andy answer. I'm open. It's about more than just the money, blah, blah, blah. My coach says talk in circles and don't give you an answer. He did that. She says, well, I can tell you if it's above 125, we can end this conversation right now. So being the smart person and knowing that he's supposed to focus on the art of the possible and she doesn't know him and this is the first date, you say, no problem. That sounds pretty good. I'm happy to continue. Let's keep going through, okay? To get down to the end, her opening offer was 150, okay? He ended up getting 170. Actually, we're gonna do a case study on him in a month for you guys. But you see what I'm saying? Don't get hung up. Well, if I put this down in the application, it's gonna rule me this out, rule me that out. Like, forget all that nonsense. They don't know you. You'll be lucky if they actually get through the applicant tracking system, which he did, which he was. But I think he had another in. But regardless, don't worry about that stuff. And then you get in and you focus on wowing them. Great question. Joshua Bootcamper, how you doing? And there's me with the super chat that I donated to my team. And I don't know how long my super chat stayed up there, if anybody actually saw it. Maybe 10 minutes. All right. Amanda J. Started a job. Let's just get this up here. All right. Started a job in February. They misled me on comp and benefit costs. I hate it there. Been looking for another role. How to answer, why are you looking? Feb is not on resume. Last role was for 3 years. I'm assuming you mean you worked for 3 years. Then in February you changed. So first thing, always make sure, number zero, I'm sorry that this happened to you and that you're in this predicament. The first real point here is make sure you are crystal clear on what the benefit costs are. Now, I find it hard to believe that they misled you on comp and benefits, and what I generally say to people, when somebody says this to me, I say, well, hang on, did you ask the right questions? Did you get the right information? How could they mislead you, right? If you ask the right questions, there's not really a freedom for them to do that. Now, it's different if they say, here's the compensation structure, and we're now changing that. You know, you're a week in, and you're not going to get commissions for this and that. We decided we're putting a whole new structure together. That's a bit crappy, okay? So, but since you went in with the benefit costs, I'm assuming that there was probably some things that either you didn't see or if they were changing plans. So, folks, let me give you a great, for example. When I'm interviewing with a company and they say, Andy, here are our benefit costs, okay? I can see, there they are. Do you guys just accept that and say, oh, thank you. $7,000 a month for healthcare, right? Kind of thing. What would I ask them? When's your open enrollment? When was the last time that was changed? What was the price tag the year before? Did you change carriers? When's your next one? You gonna 3 bid and buy? Do you ask those questions? You guys think I'm nuts. Why would you not ask that? Anything that can change, I want to know what your plan is. Now, I might not care as much if they say, well, we've been with the same insurance, broker who basically brings us this every month. When was the last time you changed insurance carriers? When was it? These are fair questions. Are you asking them? Now, you don't need to get all up in their, face. I mean, just say, hey, well, this is great. I want to make sure I plan. It's February. Did you just have open enrollment in January? No, we had it in September. Oh, okay. So in September, this can change, right? Oh, wait, hang on. I'm starting March 31st and May 1st is your open enrollment, right? You got to know this stuff going in. So this is an important point to make sure that you are actually asking the right questions. Because if you're not asking these questions, then you're susceptible to them changing something, and all of a sudden, your $700 a month premium cost that covered you and the 8 kids is now $1,400, right? So that can happen. So you got to know, and you got to, like if it's me, I would have probably asked for something. You talk about negotiating points. Well, listen, can we negotiate in that if this increases at blah, 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 I get the same rate for a year. You cover the rest. That could be a negotiating point. Kind of everything is negotiable, right? Kind of thing. Now, they may not do that. Just want to impress upon you, you've got to open your mind to these possibilities, but you've got to protect yourself against these possible changes. All right, now your question about why I've been looking for another role, how to answer why you're looking. Well, it depends. If it's me, what I might say is I accepted this position. It is entirely my responsibility that I did not thoroughly investigate what all this was, what this all entailed as it related to compensation. So I'm now looking. That's how I would answer it. You got to own it. Believe me, you own it, and then you say, and here's what I discovered, and I should have asked that question. I know it now. It wasn't on the top of my mind because I was really focused on this other stuff. I learned the lesson. That's why I'm looking. That's it, and then I move on. And I'm going to tack this off with one other thing. And Stacy we might have even cut a video for this, but I've talked to you all about when you get in an interview, you do not want to be in defense mode. And defense mode equals I have to explain myself, meaning I have to explain why I'm not working. I have to explain, if they paid you, Amanda, it's going to be on your background check. So if you don't tell them and then they run the background check and then they say, well, you didn't mention that you worked at such and such a company, that's going to be a problem. So I depending on how long you worked there, you said I started a job in February. I don't know if you left right in February or if you left, yesterday, the end of March, but that's how I would do that. And then I would say to you, when you get in defense mode, any of you for anything, you want to get out of it immediately, as quickly as possible. I made a mistake. I selected this role. I was really intrigued. I didn't check this. I discovered it. It was not acceptable to me, but I own it. That's it. I would try to get that over with as quickly as possible. All right, I know it's sticky. I hope that helps. David Mulhall, yes, you are a leader. I'm confused, Coach. You are far more valuable than $10 goodbyes. So I don't know if you guys know this, and we're looking at YouTube and membership and getting you more value for possibly joining a YouTube membership on our channel. Oh, I'll still have free live office hours and all this good stuff. But one of these things that they offer is this super chat or these stickers, and you could actually pay, and then you get the shout outs and all. Magic happens. Now that thing's been there for a month and no one has clicked it, and I haven't said anything. And so that's for the team. That's not for me. So YouTube takes a chunk, as you can imagine, and I don't take any of it. So I kicked in $10. I think YouTube takes like $3 of those dollars, and then I'm giving the team the rest. Any of you want to donate, that's entirely up to you. Aylin, how are you? I cannot wait for my shirt to come, and I cannot wait for you to get the mug so we can be twinsies. Bob, how do? Miss Marie, that's a great question. Miss Marie, I'm inserting your question here. Okay, I'll do it at the boot camp too, but I want to tell you because you asked me. So for those of you that have no idea what Miss Marie and I are talking about, she asked a question in the Mile Walk Academy system a couple of days ago. And the question was, she was in an interview, or if she gets in an interview, Marie, I can't remember if it was you were in and they asked, or I think you were in and they asked them. And they asked about deal breakers for her. So basically you're getting asked a negative question. Like, what would stop you from taking this job? What would stop you from? And it's asked in a negative manner. And my feedback to her was, anytime you are asked something in the form of a negative, what you need to do is you do not answer in the negative, okay? Do not avoid this. You do not answer in the negative. You answer in the omission, okay? So follow me. They asked her what her deal breaker was. I said to her, you can insert in, well, it would be a deal breaker for me if the organization was not customer service focused, because I am highly nutso about providing great customer service, and it would be a deal breaker for me if you were not that. That is an omission. Okay? So now what did you just say? Nothing. I'm customer service focused. If you are not, that would be a deal breaker for me. If you did not have good integrity, that would be a deal breaker for me, right? These kinds of things. It's a very smart tactic. You will never get trapped. That is a negative. That's a negative on you. You asked me for a deal breaker if you don't do that, right? That's what I would do. And that's not a terrible question for the employer to ask you, right? They didn't ask you what was your greatest weakness, which is stupid. But Marie, that's a great one. I really appreciate that. Kurt, hey, great to have you. Yes, you jumped in. I love it. Can I say something? Because y'all, the leaders, you know this, and many of the boot campers probably know this, but none of you know. I don't think anybody else knows this, and I'm not going to be sending a whole lot of messages about it. I have a leadership coaching program, which you may have heard of. We meet every month. I teach for about an hour. We have Q&A via Zoom. Folks get up on the camera. We talk to them. We give them feedback, all that good stuff. About 2 hours a month. I teach all my techniques and strategies. And then in the packages right now, there are extra bonus courses that you can get, like the Career Accelerator Program, the Productivity Challenge. If you're on the annual package, which Kurt is now, you also get the Goal Setting Masterclass. It's pretty cool. But I recently implemented a lifetime subscription, and the lifetime subscription gets you the monthly pass, gets you those courses. But what it gets you right now is a coaching call with me to be used at your convenience on whatever it is you want to cover. That's a gift. One-to-one, Zoom with me, recorded. But what it also gets you is high-level group coaching for the remainder of the year, starting in June through the rest of the year. It's a very small group of people that will probably meet about once a month. I will do some teaching. We will do some table shares or structured shares. You will have an opportunity to interact with me and the group. And we'll also do hot seating, and you'll bring forward your case studies to the group. The value in this is I'm giving people who are committing to my leadership program these bonus coaching sessions as a rampway into the mastermind program that I'm going to be launching in January of 2022, which will be a $5,000 to $7,500 annual pass. So what I wanted to do was gift my leaders some coaching, those that wanted to invest and commit to the leadership coaching, to give them these extra high-level group coaching sessions. I might have guest speakers. We'll have implementation training where you come together with me and we actually work it right there. You will walk away with stuff from the session. So there's different formats that I want to run. If you are interested in that, it's $19.97. So if you are in the leadership program and you've kicked in for a year or whatever, we credit that kind of stuff. But if you are new to me and it's something that's of interest to you, you've got until April 9th. Everybody has until April 9th because the lifetime pass will be available, but it won't include those bonuses. You just be a lifetime pass. So you get the coaching, that you could get. It's annually. If you pay, it's $300. If you pay monthly, it's $49. So I'm making mention of this. You're not going to get a ton of emails from me. I think I might have dropped a note in about this in the Tuesday Digest that's coming up next week. But if you are in my leadership program and you are a boot camper, you'll be getting more communications about this. If you are not in those programs and you're interested in doing something like this and working with me, it's a great time. This is about the group and groupthink, and you are going to get where you want to go a heck of a lot faster if you've got a small group of people that you're striving together with that are helping you with your progress. You'll get the strategy from me. You'll get the tactics from me. You'll get access to these people. It will be different than anything you've seen from me. So the value that I'm providing is facilitating this group dynamics for you. So it's and when we do this in January, when we literally launch that program, we'll have to apply. I mean, this will be exclusive. I will vet all the people that get into this program. But if you want access to a peek to this kind of coaching, you can have access to it for the $19.97 if you get in before April 1st. So I'll leave that to you. If you do want more information, email us at support@milewalk.com, and I will do my best to get back to you as fast as possible, because my cohort who manages that queue is visiting colleges right now. But Kurt, that's great to have you jump in on the annual pass. I really am glad to have you. Paridi, hi, and Deb, and Bill, and Joyce. Joyce, how are you? From Montreal. Big fan of all your videos. Oh, that's awesome. Robert Peterson, hey, how do? Michael from Kenya. I love it, buddy. I see some question marks, but I don't know if you've got a question. Maybe it's coming. Maureen, great to see you. TC, again, how to respond. I think I got that. I hear my dog jumping back there. I hope that... Oh, she's finding the spot. Ay. I hope my room is clean back there. Huh? There's no leaves on it. There's no buds on the trees. It's so sad. Jason from Huntington Beach. And Jody, how are you? John, great to see you. New to this today. Mini Panda. Okay. Mini Panda, I need a number. I need to know how many people that you've referred, and we are trying to figure out our referral program, because, I mean, you would be raking it in right now. You got to let me know. Send me an email. Give me the names of the people. They keep jumping into the boot camp. God love you. I have to gift you something. My dogs are, yeah, you know what? They're too cute for their own good. Keith, great to see ya. I'm networking through boss hunting. Is there a backlash from lower positions when connected with a higher person? Keith, I absolutely love this. And he goes on to ask, for example, if my email is open but no response, I'll send an email to their supervisor. I have been continuing on that path until I get a response. Okay. So here's mixed emotions about this one. I understand what you're saying. You're trying to reach somebody and they're not getting back to you, and then you're going above their head. Okay? So first thing is, I might, if you know who the supervisor is, on the one hand, I would say I would go directly to the boss, okay, first, because you probably have the best chance. But if you don't, I don't think it's a big deal to go to the next rung up. And if somebody said, hey, oh, I saw that you... So first off, you got to remember, there's only a certain level of hit rate here. And while it's relatively high compared to other forms of searching, it's not like off the charts you're going to get 90% response rate. And just because somebody opened your email doesn't mean anything. You should see the way I open my emails. The cursor sits there, I lean on the board, and it just zips down. It's like reading in milliseconds, okay? And it's taken off the read signal or whatever it is. So I don't know, but if it's me, I go after the boss. I give him 2 weeks. If I really want that to work at that job, I go at the boss again. I give them another 2 weeks. Then I go to the next guy. Why? I don't care. I don't give a crap if you get back to me. Okay? You've got to get there. How do you get there? You all can get there. 3 messages a day, right? The job search challenge. So if you don't know what the job search challenge is, well, we no longer give away the 5-module workshop for free, but you can check out, there's like a 30 or 40-minute video on my YouTube channel where you're sending out messages each day. If you do what I just said, by the time you get to the big boss, you will have sent 100 messages, 90-something messages. If you did not send them every day, it's 70 messages, whatever it is. So that's what I think, and I don't really care if there's backlash. If the boss says, hey, you should have gotten to this person, Keith, because he's awesome, and then I would say, oh, geez, I just didn't have a chance to, or whatever. No big deal. And then you say to the lower level manager, I didn't know if, you know, I figured it was good to try to network into your organization, and you know, I'm really appreciative if anybody got back to me. Right? No big deal. Go get him, buddy. Alejandro graduated May 2020 with an ME degree. My engineering friend, I've had a really hard time getting an opportunity to shine, although I have an internship, work, and projects under my belt. Any advice? Alejandro, same thing I would give anybody, whether they were, you know, in your age demographic, like a 22 to 24 years old, or whether they're 74 years old. Job search challenge is my best advice. On Andrea from Dubai and David, hey, I really like when you post the questions below. Oh, I try to. So here's what happens. Some of you get on the live show super early, okay? And then what YouTube does is it basically prompts me a certain amount of time before, even though I can see those chats, a certain amount of time before, hey, you know, remember your guidelines, all this other stuff. What happens with the streaming software is I have a separate chat that doesn't always pull over all those super early people. I don't know what's wrong with the chat, but it just doesn't. So, but yeah, I like to pull them over when I can. Yvonne, how do? Tom Phillips, great to see you, and Lisa and Sue Wersh. Yeah, those damn little doggies, they're so cute. Brandon, the detail guy. Charlene Lee. Charlene Lee, I think we got a Charlene Lee video coming up. Stacy, is that right, on Tuesday? Tell me, is that the one? Is it Tuesday? Let me know. Hey, let's just get this up here. All right. Hey, Andy, advice on how to approach the company with a job posting that is one level higher than I wanted. I know they do not have the position I wanted, but they need it in the future. Okay, so a couple things. Now, I wish I would have known. If I'm here and this is the job I want, that's one thing. If I'm attempting to try to raise my game and try to go a step up, that's much harder, okay? Now, if this is me, and based on the little that I know here, why do you have to give them the job posting? Why can't you go in and approach them with the boss hunting cover letter as if there's no job opening? I would be open to positions in such as, or anything in this area, and you're a little vague. They will be able to connect the dot. Your goal is not to get a job with a cover letter. Your goal is to get somebody to respond to the cover letter. Your next goal is to get some dialogue going, like literal dialogue, back and forth through the cameras, through the phone, through the in-person. And then you have the discussion. So that's what I would do. I'm one step at a time kind of guy. Hold on, let me back up. It's like chess, 8 maneuvers. Okay, I know the moves I have to make, but I'm gonna focus on just the one I need to make. Kind of thing, focus. Hope that helps. Emma, Emma, I can't wait to work with you. I love it. I'm so glad that you are in the, I don't know if Kara gave you your number. Like, all of my lifetime leaders now have they have numbers because they're all the early ins. So it's just great stuff. Oh, Aylin, thank you for that. Yes, you are a lifer. Thank you for that. Yeah, couple things, because I always forget this. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. Because why? It hurts me when you don't get my new stuff every Tuesday at 6:30 my time. It hurts me when you don't show up to live office hours. You want those reminders. And if you are enjoying this video, please click the thumbs up button. It matters to YouTube. The engagement matters. The commentary matters. It's all, and share it. There's loads of people out there that need a ton of help. I would love to help them. Bryson, you're always bringing so much value. Thank you for serving at the highest and greatest good of all. Bryson, can I say something? I appreciate this. I hope you all learn. If you learned only one thing from me, this would be it. Whatever you do, strive for total excellence. Now, strive for total excellence across your lifetime, not for any one specific thing. Like, I don't want to obsess about my weekly video that I give you on Tuesday. I could spend 4 hours scripting it all out, making sure that I got all the right lights and everything, and all that good stuff every week. If I did that, you would never get a video on Tuesday, kind of thing. But I think about the collection of the value that I want to put together for you on my YouTube channel. In aggregate, I call it an A, right? It's got a lot of great stuff across different kind of things that you would need for job searching, career development, self-help, and high performance, and those kind of things. In aggregate, I think big. Each one of the weekly things, or each thing that you do day in and day out, do it consistently with high quality, okay? Remember we were talking about peaks? You're judged by the peaks, right? Except that if you are consistently grade A, that matters, showing up all the time. In your job search, this part is showing up every day with something you can control. When you get a company on the line interested with you, then you can dedicate some time to that, right? But if you are high quality, consistent, it works for all life, right? Your habits determine your future. The day in and day out is what matters. And you got to have the joy in the doing. So when I'm here with you, this is it. My mind is nowhere else. And you got to be focused. So I hope you take that with you. I hope you focus on that message and all the intricacies of the guidance and the this and the that and all that stuff. That's just along for the ride. It really is. Believe me, a lot of the stuff that people worry about and agonize over and lose sleep over doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. Focus on you focus on serving, you focus on helping those people around you, you focus on, right, anybody who meets you, that could be the only time they ever meet you. Anytime you watch a video of mine, it could be the only time they ever see it. Anytime somebody comes to a live show on a Thursday, it could be the only one they ever see. I think about that. I think about that. And then the day in and day out becomes much easier. Believe me, I thank you for that. I appreciate you, Bryson, and everybody else. It matters to me. Smita, speaking of lovely people, great to see you. Mia Panda, you guys are just so. John Marks, how do? Meme Town. Just had a second, awesome. Dre, how do? Peter Chung, what should you do when company morale is low and getting worse? Jump ship. Seems like management does not want to improve. I absolutely love this because we all face this, right? Company morale, even if it's not, like, company morale should be high. Always. It should. Because if it isn't high, you need to fix it, like, right away. Because why? It only takes one little snowball for it to get down and dump spill. You got people commiserating, no one's happy. So what I tend to do in these situations, number one, you always want to have your pulse on your team, on your staff, on the people around you, communicating with the management team and all that good stuff. For you as an employee, what I do, this is the pecking order of the steps I go through. If morale is low, you do not need to be feeding that. What can I control? Control what you can control. I can control my attitude. If there's people around me that are not happy, right? We're going out for coffee and they're, bitching and moaning. Well, don't feed that, right? You gotta help them. You gotta uplift them. So you want to make sure that you're supportive. If you have thoughts for management on, I just want to make you aware. I'm doing my best to try to help keep this up, but I think you need to communicate with the staff. There's maybe some people that are unhappy or whatever, and obviously you want to. It's delicate to be communicating this, but I think you need to give them a chance because you've got to try to get them to do whatever they can to help improve morale. And that I try there first, especially if I enjoy the company and I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't just jump ship. All right, now, if an opportunity came along and morale happened to be low, the second thing I think about is I always entertain the opportunity, but now I recognize my susceptibility to leaving just because morale is low. So you want to make sure your requirements and your evaluations and all those things are in order because you don't want the recency bias of how you're feeling at the moment to supersede and outweigh all the other things you need that people tend to omit in their investigation of where they're going. So, in anything, in your group of friends, in your family, in anything, don't feed the morale. By the way, one other thing, and Peter, I hope that helps you. One other thing about like the small group coaching that I do. One of the things that's really important to me, and it's not just the small group, private group coaching. It's even on the YouTube channel or anywhere else. It is okay for people in my community to not agree with my suggestions or my guidance. That's okay. And it is certainly okay for you to express that and share it on the channel. I get emails sometimes, however you want. And if you do it thoughtfully and we have a good dialogue about it, that's okay. I'm not going to sweat it. It is not my goal in life to convince you that you need to do everything the way I say. That isn't, not in the least. But it's also my job to curate, to make sure that everybody feels good in the community. And part of building a good community or building good group coaching or a team or an organization or whatever it is that is in your influence, it's important that you curate a good environment where people feel safe and you don't allow people to be mean or drag the group down or whatever. So it's really important. So when I said about the mastermind, you're going to have to, that to me, I have to evaluate and make sure that what's going into the group is good. It's the same kind of thing when you're building a team. You've got to make sure that what's coming into the company, and then once it gets into the organization, everybody needs to be serviced, nurtured, and the entire environment needs to be curated and maintained. So you got to think about that. It's important that you guys do that. Robin, how are you, buddy? Yes, the one-on-one was awesome. Handy, after our one-on-one for the presentation, I've still not heard back from the hiring manager. Internal recruiter said he was on personal leave. Okay, that's at least a good thing because that's really surprising that you would not have heard back by now. She said the team was excited about me and would put me in touch with the temp hiring manager. That was Monday, but still nothing. Thoughts on how to get them engaged again. Okay, Robin, what you didn't mention, and I realize you only got so many characters here. Whenever somebody says, okay, the temp manager will get to you, literally, like how you're at the doctor and they boom and your leg goes up. Okay, well, my immediate response to that email would have been, I don't know if you did this or not. Thank you so much for letting me know. I realize this is obviously whatever is going on is sensitive or a big deal or whatever language you want to use to let them know that you appreciate the change they're going through. I appreciate that the temporary hiring manager might be a bit underwater, overwhelmed, whatever language you want to use. The most important thing is that you give them your compassion, right? I understand. I'm empathetic to your situation. I'm really excited. Can you let me know when that person might be able to get back to me? Not when will that person get back to me. When might they be able to? Meaning that language is different. That language says, I feel you, right? I get that you're in pain. I get that there's disruption. And so you want to get back to them in that regard immediately. Then you're hoping the HR person says, oh, it should be in a week or so, or it should be by the end of the week, or whatever. Now, if you didn't do that, no problem, right? We're here to serve. I would basically give them a week or so. The stage that you are in at this organization, if the hiring manager immediately had to leave, after all the work you put in and the presentation and all that stuff we went through, I, as the HR person, would be beside myself making sure that I'm communicating with you that, hey, we still love you, we're still engaged, please bear with us, this and that, we'll get in touch with you. At a minimum, if no one contacts you, I'll contact you by Monday. Like that kind of stuff. That's the level of communication you should expect. They should not be disappearing on you for a week. Okay, so just, you're not nuts there. But that's how I would do that, and I would get back to them that way. And if you didn't say what I said like immediately, in your follow-up say that. Just say, hey, I appreciate, you're trying to, temp hire manager's trying to get up to speed, and there's probably a lot that he or she had to take on and so forth. Give that a try. Meantime, let's get this up here with your pretty little cat. Boop. Okay. Going into salary negotiations now, the company does not want to pay what I'm asking because others on the team are earning less. Do you have any advice on this? I do. So, number one, what you earn, on the one hand, from an employer's standpoint, they try to keep you reasonably together because, right, for morale. We just got done talking about morale, right? All right, I appreciate that. However, if I bring all this other stuff to the table, am I not worth more? Okay, so where am I going with this? Now, I'm not going to go into all the tactics and all the other things I would say. What I want you to know is it's incumbent upon you to explain why you are worth more. If you say to me, well, Andy, I can't pay you $100,000 because we only pay the team $80,000. Okay. Well, how about this value I'm going to bring? Does anybody on the team do that? Does anybody on the team do that? Does anybody on the team do that? Is anybody going to be able to? Same thing happened to me. I was 32. Okay. I was moving from one company to another. Okay. They were hiring me to help build an account development model, an integrated sales model between the consulting services that this IT consulting company provided. And there were salespeople, there were delivery people who basically put the stuff in. And I needed to help them understand how to build client relationships, how to sell to their clients based on what their clients needed, and make sure that the sales team understood what proper selling looked like in this kind of model, even though they had like 10 salespeople that were selling all over the place. Okay? Now, there were other people that were trying to do that job that they were paying some rate. But then I came in and I negotiated something. They gave me the, hey, we got to keep you near, none of that nonsense. Okay. Like if you're asking me to do this, which I'm going to do based on my experience because I've done it here and let me show you what that looks like, that's worth that number kind of thing. I don't care what anybody else is making, right? Kind of thing. That's irrelevant. Are you going to pay commensurate with the value that I'm going to provide? If not, that's okay. There's about a bajillion other companies in the world that I would be happy to go work for. You've got to get to that place mentally. Okay? Your negotiation leverage has absolutely nothing to do with your situation. You make it worth you make it and relate it to your situation. I don't have a job, I need money. I don't like the job, I need to get out of my company. Right? These kinds of things. That's what you do. But technically, that's irrelevant. Negotiation power comes from what you feel you're worth and how you articulate your ability to show them that and connect the dots for them that when I do this, it's worth that. We had this woman in the boot camp. I met with her. She was about to go into a salary negotiation. Okay? She had only been with the company 90 days. 60 days was a trial. Then they converted her to a full-time employee. And within the first month that they converted her, she was interviewing for another position. Okay? It was all good stuff. And in the 30 days that she'd been there, she had automated something that was otherwise done manually that reduced the number of people that they needed to hire. Right? There is a very explicit cause and effect. When I do this, this is what it saves you. You can delay all those extra hires. How much were you paying those people? Kind of thing. There is some way you need to prove your point. I'm not going to give you the money just because you want the money or you think you're worth that. I'm not going to give you the money because you come to me with some report that says, oh, well, marketing people should get paid $70,000 a year. Says who? Right? You have got to show them why this position should be valued at this because of what you are going to do, not what they're used to paying. Those arguments that companies try on you are nonsense. Don't sit for that. I'm not saying they're just going to give it to you. And even if they believed that if they at least came back to you and said, we just don't have that amount of money, I'd say, thank you. Okay, fine. Keep me in mind if you ever change it. And the other thing that you need to do, Meme Town, and anybody, when you go into the discussion and they say the position pays or what's your expected salary or is this going to be enough, from the time you get in to the time they make the offer, what you need to be thinking is I need to change the way they think about this position and what this position can be and what I can do for them. Because once they see that, they can never unsee that. Okay, so we thought the position was valued at $70,000. And what a lot of companies do is here's how they solve their hiring problem. We pay $70,000 for that, and we think the person that can solve that problem or implement that or do that job or handle those customers or whatever looks like that. Okay? They come from this type of company. They sound like this. They're about that old, right? They blah, blah, blah. Right. There's only one of these things that's fixed in this whole process, the problem they need you to solve. But what you as an individual can do to solve that and the skills that you bring to that and the value you can contribute is the variable that you need to change in their mind from the time you start the process till the time you finish it. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, if I come in, if I show you, I go in, I'm 32 years old, right? You think account development is this? This isn't account development. Where is your strategy and plan? Where is this and that? Have you showed them how to do this? Have you integrated that? Have you brought these people in? Have you cross-referenced and cross-sold that? Right? Do you know what that takes to do that? Kind of thing. Now, all of a sudden, their problem is still their problem, but who they want to solve it and the outcome of that problem has changed. That's what happens. Whatever your level is, it doesn't make any difference. I don't care if you're $1 million a year earner, 100,000 or 50. Okay, the same applies. You need to change the way they think about who can solve that problem and the value they can get from someone they hire. If they get more, they will pay more. That's what you need to change. The recruiter at the front is telling you it pays 70 because that's all the recruiter knows, because that's what the recruiter thinks, or that's what the HR person thinks, or that's what the hiring official has essentially paid those people. You got to change that. So the answer to your question is, what would I do? I would have shown them in the interviewing process that I was worth this. And then I would have reiterated it right before, and then I would have counteroffered and reiterated it again. So don't lose sight of that. A lot of you, I know I'm ranting about this. One more thing. You go into an interview, don't do this. You go into an interview process and you think, I just need this job. I need to get to the offer. No, that is not victory. First off, getting a job with a company you love in a role that is great for you, that you will have fun and feed your career, that's your goal. Okay, but in the short term, where you are going to go from the first screen to the offer, then counteroffer, then acceptance, you need to be thinking, I need to change the way they think about this role and the value I can bring. If they think this, I'm going to show them this. Right? That's what you need to be thinking, and you need to plan for success. So when I get down to the end, I have accumulated all of these points. You keep track, keep a diary as you go through the interview process. You keep a diary as you go through the interview process. This stuff needs to be recorded for you. I'm going to make that point. Oh man, today I talked to Susie on a Tuesday, 3, 4, 5 weeks before I get that offer. I'm going to make sure I note that, right? That's going to be an example I'm going to yank off the top of my tongue when I have to make an argument about the difference between me and the team, the difference between what the team is able to do with the customers and I am. That stuff needs to be, you need to have that. That's what wins the negotiation. I don't know how long I went on that, and I know I went all over the place, but you needed to hear that. Okay, so Stacy, I don't know, figure out where we start and stop that one. All right, I hope that helped. Man, I get amped up about money. I want you guys to make a ton of money. There is a ton of money out there to be made. There's always more. There's 7.7 billion people in the world. There's always jobs, there's always money. Sean, where you been? Third interview, presenting a case. No, let's just get this up here. Third interview, presenting a case study to a panel. Went well, but worried that they posted salary range at half of what I was looking for. How to negotiate that big jump. Sean, see my previous rant. I kid you not. I mean, go to module 5 of the bootcamp. Watch that. Take in the context of the rant I just gave and overlay that. All right. Let me see, where are we at? I do want to speak to this. Laura Cobb is asking, is there some focus group or something coming up for the lifers? Something like that. When is it safe to book extra session with Andy because I signed for a lifer? Okay, I do want to reiterate this because this is a big deal, and I will never offer coaching at this price, at this level again. This is a gift for these people who are investing in themselves with my leadership program. Laura, what we're going to do is, and this is important because you guys got to know what I'm talking about at the level I mean. Once we get through this wave and after April 9th is over and I can see who has jumped in for this coaching, I will communicate with you. I need your biographies. I have goal sheets and a list of questions that you need to fill out because I need to get all this information so I can optimize what we're going to do for the group for the rest of the year. We're going to go through this process. You're going to have to give me some information. I need to make sure I understand what you've been doing, what you're doing. There's a ton of stuff. And then I got to get to know you. So each one of you gets a coaching session with me. After I get all that, we're going to have as you'll have a couple of weeks to give me that. We'll have a session together. That will be a planning session for the rest of the year. So you'll come to that. So that will be just those lifetime leadership members for this high-level coaching group. We'll get together, and then we will plan out the schedule for the rest of the year. And I do want to there's some topics that I want to cover and some things I want you to do, or I want to teach you. But we will get all of that going as soon as this April 9th deadline is over. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Stephanie Smith, if you are a veteran, there are veteran groups. That is so true. LinkedIn that can help you build up your connections for sure. Wilma, how is New York? All right, you guys are awesome. David Mills, I'm a good friend of Laura Cobb. He speaks the world of you. I do. Misha from Scotland, love it. Great to see you. And Michelle Kennedy. Cranky Patty, how do? Let me see. Where's my next one? Patty Cranky, I'm in an interview process for a BD role with a startup company based overseas. I'm still a contender. I was told that because it is a new company, they still can't hire directly in the U.S. Bummer. Any advice on negotiating the salary for a 1099 contract versus being direct employee? Okay, so she's talking about a sales position. And this will happen where organizations can't necessarily hire. There's all kinds of restrictions. There's a number of things that companies have to be able to do. So on the 1099, I would try to keep it simple. And simple should include two things. It should include a set base pay for the month. And it should include, if you're in sales, commissions, what that commission percentage is. There just should be some structure, some table. I get you new business, you give me this. I augment existing business, you give me that. Whatever it is, it could be set amount, could be percentages of revenue, percentages of profit. It can be paid immediately upon invoice. It could be paid when they collect it. There's a million things, but just salary or set amount and some type of commissionable format. And you also need a statute in there that extends, I don't know what you're selling, but for example, if I sold something and you were going to pay me every month based on consulting services that we gave to that client, if I leave, I want at the end, out the door, I want some type of clause that says, and you will pay me for X number of months of those commissions, or once I start this, you pay me for X number. So there's got to be something so where if you just leave because, hey, you found another job, you went full-time, you did with somebody else, you might want to try to ensure that they will continue paying you certain things. Companies will do that. They will. I hope that helps. Lots of luck. Paridi, yeah, the funnel. It's so funny because this funnel is so funny. I wrote it. I just scribbled it out one day just to show you, 3 minutes before a live show, one of these. And now I get people going and graphically doing this and sending it to me in the support queue, saying I did this for myself, or do you want this? Can we revenue share? Kind of thing. I'm a graphic artist. I mean, it's really funny. The message matters. I worry about the cosmetics, not too much. Jenny Chen, stamp your trademark. I have a lot of service marks. You probably don't know that. Today's line to live by, tips for work and life, mile walk, and all that good stuff. See, David, oh, hilarious. Loving the video, but I'll tell you what, you can't see him. Can you see him? No, the camera's not going to get there. He's laying there. He and she, they okay, when I was growing up, we had a dinner table. I'm a family of four. My dad sat at one end of the table. My mom sat at the other end of the table. And then the four seats in between, the two on each side, were fair game. Except I always sat to my dad's left, and we called that the talking seat. If my parents are on this, if they're still here, they're going to laugh their butt off. Because whoever got into the seat immediately to my dad's left got to talk the most. So I always wanted that seat. You probably would never imagine that. So the dogs do it. The dogs literally, if one of them is in the bed closest to me, the other one wants to get there. And so then if she's in there, he pouts and he sits here until I move her. It's ridiculous. I like the stories that go on behind the scenes. You guys would laugh your tail off. Oh my God. Case study. Yep. Wait, case study on what? What was I case studying? Are you talking about the Rohan thing? Oh, long-term announcement here. Speaking of case studies, May. Stacy, what can we confirm the dates? I can't remember. I don't have a calendar. First Tuesday, Thursday in May. We have a job search mini camp. Okay, that's what I'm calling it. There's the mini camp and there's the training camp, the boot camp. So Tuesday, Thursday, in first one's in May. It's gonna be awesome. I'm covering resume writing, job searching, job interviewing, and salary negotiation. I'll have case studies. I have videos of people that I'm interviewing. You'll have the slides, and all good stuff. And so that's free. Well, although you can have a VIP pass if you want the recordings and you want to come in a private Zoom session with me, it'll be really modest. And then the boot camp, we have a bunch right after that. When those 2 weeks are over, we go into boot camp 4 in a row, Monday, Thursday, something like that. So May is filled with a lot of job search coaching from me. It's really cool. You can't even sign up for that yet because I haven't opened up the page yet. But it's coming, and it's coming soon. It's really going to be fun. And if you are interested in the job search bootcamp because you want to get in right now and you want to roll through it because it's not on special, if you email me at support while Kara's on vacation, I will be the nice one and I will give you $100 off. If you reference this, say, hey, I was on Andy's show and he was talking about the blah, 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 and I will do that for you. And Stacy's telling me it's May 4th, 6th, and then that would be what? The 11th and the 13th. I can add 7 days. No, you can stop typing, Stacy. I got it. Oh my God. Ha. All right, see you, County. Yeah, I'm just buzzing through. PJ Lavery. Andy, what are your thoughts on the best way to leverage JobScan? Is there a target range to try to... Okay, I love this. Okay, Stacy, can you do me a favor? Can you get my JobScan link? I'm not like a, wait, we just got done talking about affiliate stuff. I believe they told me, true story, that I was the first career coach they sought to partner with them. Now, there's a lot of other career coaches who do that now. And JobScan, what they do, I do like the tool. I do promote the tool. I don't promote it a ton. You don't see it much around town. But if you end up using their service, they give me a few bucks. It's really tiny, which is probably why I don't promote it all nearly as much as I should. But I do have an affiliate link. You can try it for free. I would recommend you try it for free. I think it's a great tool. I think it's a great tool, but I do not want you to obsess over anything. So what PJ's asking is, the best way to leverage JobScan, is there a target range or score to get? It takes time to align your resume and cover letter to raise your score. If you don't know what he's talking about, effectively what you do is you take your resume and you take the job description. You can actually take the URL of the job description from the applicant trashing system that it's on, or you can cut it out, you can paste it. There's a number of things that you can do, but basically what it's trying to do is it's saying, okay, well, if this is the job, based on your resume, you score 80%. 70%, 62%, 98%. And what JobScan will do is it will actually give you some keywords. Maybe you're missing. Maybe you called it sales. Maybe they want business development executive. Maybe you called it account exec. They wanted account manager. Maybe you didn't have the fluffy words that Andy hates in resumes, the opinion-based words like self-starter, communicative, great leader, and all that other stuff. That the buzzwords that recruiters gloss over, but that the system JobScan doesn't know that, okay, well, that in the job description, it says we want these 10 traits. Okay, well, somewhere in your resume, you better plop those words in and then justify why that's the case. So what I recommend you do is make a run real quick, look at it, take the low-hanging fruit, update your resume, and go, and that's it. So you asked me what my thoughts are, what the best way to leverage it is. Take it, run it, get the obvious stuff, and go. Because, what do I really preach? I don't even want you putting your resume in the applicant tracking system. So I don't even want you wasting time putting that stuff out, spending all that time. If I'm boss hunting and I see that there's a job description that I want to target a boss for, I would look at my resume, I would look at the job description, I would go to JobScan, I would run it through really fast, I would look at, is there anything I should do, anything obvious, blah, blah, blah. I would change it really quick, I'd take that, I'd email the boss. Why? Well, you didn't stick it in the system, but even the boss's eye is going to like to see his nomenclature or hers, right? They're used to seeing business development executive, business development manager, account executive, account manager, or whatever. We call it this. Right, kind of thing. So that's a great question, buddy, and hopefully Stacy plopped that in the chat somewhere for that. Louis Delgado, Chicago boy. No jumping over any fires, Louis. Just received an offer for my dream job. This is a boot camper, folks. I love it. Just received an offer. Can we give him a shout out? What does relocation packages look like? Going to review the offer and counter offer. You better make me proud. Yes, Chicago to San Francisco over fire pits. All right, so couple things. Number one, there is no such thing as a set standard relocation package. There is no such thing as the amount of money. There is no such thing as how they determine the money. There is no such thing as a designated time frame. There is no such thing as a standard return policy. So the relocation packages could look like we're giving you nothing. They could look like, Louie, you're a super dude, man. We're going to give you a flat 20K. We're going to give you nothing, or we're going to give you a flat, or you just send us the bill. Don't worry, Louie, you're never going to see a bill. We'll negotiate everything for you. We'll get beacons over to your house on this day. We'll help you sell your house. You'll sell your house to me. Then we'll sell the house. Right? Kind of thing. Anything is possible. Okay? So there's no standard. And then, Louie, you're coming. You're starting April 1st. If you leave our company before April 1st of 2022 or 2023, you have to pay us all that back. That's normal. Okay, kind of. So like, and everything's negotiable. Everything. Hang on, I got a big family. I need temporary housing. Stay at the Marriott Suites. You want to, wait, we'll give you rent the house. We'll give you, nope, you got to find the house before you come. Leave the family there. You commute. We'll pay your hotel. Like, I mean, it could be anything, right, that can be negotiated. And I have seen no less than 100 different ways to cut this up. So what it looks like is, I don't know. What to think about are those things I just told you. And just make sure you're clear on that. Good luck, buddy. Congrats. How we doing on time? All right, folks, I gotta run. Stacy, anything else? I see baby girl had to leave early. We'll give her a shout out. You'll miss it. And first time Rodney home. Great to have you. Any other first timers? Great to have you all. Love to see my leaders and my boot campers and any of you all that have interest in the job search boot camp at $100 off. My lifetime leadership pass. You want to know what that's about. Anything you got any questions about, support at milewalk.com. Let me see if I got that card. Hang on, like these are like this is like the here we go. Support at milewalk.com, .com. And I'm going to do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible. Kara is much better at this because she is focused on that. But, you know, we got to give her a couple days off because, you know, the kid wants to go to USC or Boston College or somewhere, I don't know, on the coast. But anyway, give her a big shout out when she gets back here. And for all of you, for all your attention, I greatly appreciate it. I truly do. Do me a favor. Click the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and share this with somebody. If all of you just reached out to one person who might be able to use it, the world would be a way better place. All right, you guys, I'll see you next week.